Allow me to quickly start off this video by saying that I originally was going to make a review of Fire Emblem Three Houses, and that project was supposed to be finished a while back, but my 100 hours of footage got corrupted, which led me down the rabbit hole in hope of fixing it, as I firmly believe that this is not only one of the best games in the series, but also one of the best currently on this system. It is frustrating, but I'm unwilling to wait any longer. So, here's a game disc focusing on a franchise that I believe that many on my channel might have a fondness for: Devil May Cry. To be such a loved franchise, every game in this action-packed series really stands out from one another, and because of this, I wanted to look at all of them and list them from which one I like the most to the ones I might not hold such a warmness for. I will look at the positive and the negatives, as there is far more to talk about than just the later games are better mechanically, which is of course to be expected. So please don't expect me to be completely unbiased or anything. This is my list after all. All that being said, only in the conclusion will I show the answer to the topic of this video. Let's begin with the first game in the series. Oh, and there will be spoilers.
I like big butts.
Devil May Cry. I didn't get to play this game until way later, February of 2019 actually. My playthroughs went like this: Devil May Cry 4 on the PlayStation 3, DMC 3 on the PlayStation 2, and then the original one, followed by the sequel. And then the fifth one at the very end. I played through all of these before the final game came out, not only in preparation of that, but also for my two analytical videos for two of our protagonists. And yeah, going from the gameplay polished 3 and 4 all the way back to its roots was not a bad experience. One thing that makes this game stand out from the rest, at least I feel, is the scope of the story. It's a very simple one. Stop the evil demon lord that's about to return. Yeah, there is more to it of course, like how said evil is the one behind our heroes' painful past, etc, but it is very contained. The later games have our heroes go all over the place to stop conspiracies while splitting the focus of our hero to someone else secondary. While here, you only focus on Dante in Malay Island. I like that. Sure, people like to make fun of some of the voice acting. Dante is relatively bland in comparison to his later adventures, but hey, he's still a goofball that likes to joke around, so I can say that I truly could replay this game quite easily for the narrative. The same can't really be said for the gameplay though. It's not horrible or anything, but it feels very limited after enjoying 4 or 5. You have some sword moves, you get the boxing gloves after a while, which you can freely change in combat, and all that good stuff, but where almost every other DMC is so vastly replayable because of the combat, it makes the original feel outdated. I guess this is an after effect from playing this one after the others, but hey, the Nello Angelo fights are awesome to play. There's the nightmare stuff, but screw that fight. Actually, screw all 3 of those fights. Ugh. Overall, I enjoyed the narrative. Pretty indifferent on the gameplay, while absolutely loving the music. I primarily listened to this soundtrack when working on my In the Mind of Dante, because it felt like the original game had the most heart when it came to this character, aside from the third one, of course. Devil May Cry 3. No worries, I will talk about the direct sequel, but I want to feel good a bit longer, so give me a break. Though hey, this was my second DMC, so hey, logic at its finest. So as I started off with the story focusing on Nero, I didn't know much about Dante. Hell, I actually disliked him a bit before getting to the later parts of DMC 4. So going into this older game, I thought to myself, man, I have to play as this guy? I'm going to miss Nero. At least he had a struggle to go through.
I've never been so wrong in all my life.
This is without a doubt one of the best PlayStation 2 games out there, and that's saying something. The gameplay is so creative, the music is still one of the best soundtracks you can return to, and the story. Yeah, it doesn't really get better after Dante's Awakening. So did I miss Nero after playing this golden gem? Not really, and remember, I really like the son of Vergil, but man, when the story focuses on the sons of Sparta, I just get so invested. Seeing the smug red assassin's background made me appreciate his character so much more in DMC 4. Anyways, what to talk about? I still believe that Devil May Cry 3 has the best narrative out of every game in this franchise. It really stands out because of it. Everywhere you look within, you see only reinforcements of the themes, subjects, etc. Whether it be watching Lady's journey to kill her father, or facing off the many demons that work together to beat the lone brothers, who eventually has to put their differences aside against a power-hungry human. While not as contained as the previous game, it still is just a climb up a massive tower to face against Vergil. Dante growing from a non-caring selfish vengeance seeker to an understanding warm-hearted demon hunter. The gameplay is top-notch as well. You are limited to only 2 physical and ranged weapons at a time, and the styles are something you can't change in combat like 4 or 5, but it's still a joy to play through. If there is one negative I can think of, it might be that some of the areas you walk through can get a bit stale and even annoying. Not so much as I want to put the game aside, but it has its downsides. I also heavily dislike the boss rush at the very end. I do not enjoy that at all. I love boss fights, don't get me wrong, but having to fight all of them one after another is something that gets tiresome really quickly. So in the end, the strongest part is the narrative and music, followed by the gameplay. The graphics have aged somewhat, but luckily the characters are still holding up, for the most part. The voice work is stellar. Ruben Lang's first time in the role as Dante, and Daniel Southworth playing as the Blue Brother. I love this game so much. Devil May Cry 4! My first DMC. I will admit, when first playing it, I had no idea on what kind of game it was. I mean, the options they throw at you is so overwhelming. If only I knew what would await me in the future. Now, what I'm about to say may anger a few people, but remember that these are my own views and my own list, so keep that in mind. Devil May Cry 4 is a 50-50 game for me. I love some parts of it. I heavily dislike the rest of it. The narrative starts off great, takes a nosedive when you change character at the midpoint. The different playstyles of the two protagonists are both excellent. Shame you pretty much have to go through the exact same things with Dante as you did with Nero earlier. The characters are memorable. Shame you have to have the same boss fight several times against them. The music is also all over the place. I adore most of Nero's themes, but when you hear Dante's or Agnus's, I can't even remember them. Even when I first played it, when I was 14, I noticed it had problems. 14! And I was a stupid kid! Still, even if I am talking quite negatively on this one, I do hold it close to my heart nonetheless. The story focuses on Nero and his love Kyrie. Dante is there because we love Dante. I know he has a reason, but this is the younger boy's journey, not Mr. Pizza Time over here. Which is why it feels like when it changes to Dante midway through, it just changes out of necessity to have him playable, rather than following the narrative's best interests. And that doesn't sit well with me. That being said, the gameplay was at its best here for a long time, making it probably one of the most replayable out of the bunch, before the last game in the series came out. The best way for me to say that I truly enjoyed this game is by saying that I love parts of it. Out of Darkness is a song I adore. I still listen to it when I want to chill. Playing as Nero and Dante is something else. I never got good at playing the latter one, truth be told, but the prior was my preferred way of playing, even when going through DMC 3. The Devil Bringer animations were awesome. Credo is still one of my favorite boss fights of all time, and there was not a single place that feels or looks boring, even if the design is uninspired. Pretty much the basic forest, ice, fire, and castle theme that you can find in any Zelda game. Yeah, I really like parts of the game, but I wish they could have fixed some of the other stuff. I was really disappointed with the special edition when all they added was new characters to play through the same things once more. Seriously, it's fun to play, but I feel like my dislike for it is constantly building each time I go through this game. The game that doesn't have this effect, however, Devil May Cry 5. Do I even need to say anything? The latest in the series feels like it was made by fans, for fans. A love letter to this entire franchise. A return from the tragedy of El Dante in 2013. It's not perfect, and I absolutely have some issues with it, but the positives heavily outweighs the negatives. The story is all over the place. You have 3 playable characters, the narrative surrounding them all. Nero is going after the dude that chopped off his arm. Dante's hearing that the new demon chief might be the dude who stole his chocolate when he was younger, and V,
To be or not to be.
what I like here is that the narrative is focusing on what every fan wanted it to focus on. Please focus more on the Sons of Sparta. Please do something with Nero's background. Please bring back Mr. Pizza Man again. Please bring back best girls. When playing Devil May Cry 5 for the first time, I was giggling, laughing, and smiling all the way through. It was just a good time all throughout. As I mentioned, some problems here. I do not particularly like the ending that much. I feel like they glossed over a few things, mostly what surrounded the antagonist. But again, there might be some wrinkles, but overall, it's just too good to matter too much. Gameplay is at its best here. You have all the options. Not options, all the options. Bring every weapon with you as Dante. Customize Nero's Devil Breaker system. Do creative stuff with V's demons. Creativity is key here. Every time I could play as Dante, I couldn't be happier. Yes, it could get overwhelming at times, as I said, but that just means that I got to train more, to get better. The presentation is also top here. It looks amazing. The soundtrack is up there. Sure, I might have had some issues with Subhuman, but I've learned to enjoy it. And there isn't a single movement I dislike. Actually, that's a bit wrong. I'm not fond of the weird bus rush system, again with V. But luckily once you realize how powerful your demons are, using the devil trigger bar to boost them up, it didn't bother me too much, and the consistent Urizen fights didn't tingle my fancy either. Still, could do without them though. But the boss battles in general though, oh my lord, the 2 final battles, love them! But now, there's the final fight of this video. Oh boy. Devil May Cry 2. During my Dante video, I made some fun of this game, which caused some comments to be thrown in from people defending this sequel of the original, and I will try to be as respectful as I can, but why? What are you seeing in this game? Even the creators have spoken out how much they dislike both working on it and the end result. I cannot for the life of me understand it. The narrative is so basic and bad. Any interest thrown out the window because the horrid quality of the writing. Every character is so bad. The only thing people like to defend is how Dante is maybe depressed or some stupid stuff like that, or how he has at least one cool line.
King? Yeah. Here's your crown.
But is that enough to make a good character? And Lucia? How can people make fun of DMC 1 Dante's line delivery when we have stuff like this?
Till next time, son of Sparta. The ones who have the blood of the devils. I could become a monster and attack the humans at any time!
Even her design is all over the place. Even her function in the story is the exact copy of Trish's in the original game. The villain is a joke who just changes personality every time you see him. Boy, he's insane, that's the reason. And the stupid theme that plays when you fight him is engraved into my mind, and not in a good way. The game is so brown as well, there's no color. See how drab it looks. And my god, the gameplay. Guns are the key to victory in this world, not gonna lie. I think there are maybe 3 enemies, not including the bosses, where you probably have to use your sword, but you can't cancel your combat moves with a dodge or anything, making you feel unsafe when going for close combat, when you have a safer and more efficient options of guns. The boss fights are all a mess, aside from maybe the final one. Oh, sorry, I mean the second half of the final one. The beginning of that battle is horrendous. Trying to find any positive here, I guess there are some musical tracks that I do enjoy. I do genuinely enjoy some ideas here, and I guess the customization of your devil trigger is fun, but you don't really spend that much time on it. I'm not gonna lie, DMC 2 is one of the worst games I've ever played, and I've played some bad ones. If you actually enjoy it, good for you, more power to you, but I can't understand it. So, those are my thoughts on all the games, at least the ones I could have thrown in there. I mean, I have to make a small video, after all. Making my list go like this, from bottom to top. DMC 2, do I need to go further into why? DMC 4, I'm surprised that it ended so low, but again, not gonna lie, the 50-50 thing really hit me hard every time I replay this game. Once you start playing as Dante, it doesn't matter how much fun he is, I just can't stand going through the exact same stuff a second time. His cutscenes are entertaining, but I've seen them so many times now, and too many times make me want to return to this game. DMC 1, it is simplistic but effective. The only thing I firmly dread when playing this game are the nightmare segments. Everything else is gold to me. Okay, maybe silver, but it's close to gold at least, because before playing it for my Dante video, I thought I would be very meh when it came to it, but I was truly pleasantly surprised. I do wish the PC port wasn't so bad though. And now for the big 2. Which one will it be? Which one will be number 1? DMC 3 or 5? And my favorite Devil May Cry goes to Devil May Cry 3. The reason is simple. It wants to tell a story, which it does flawlessly. The gameplay, while not as impressive as the 5th game, is just as addictive and fun. Some bias here, I'm not gonna lie, but as the final game is such a love letter to the fans, I feel like it leans a bit too much on the franchise. And I'm not saying that as a negative, do not get me wrong. I love Devil May Cry 5, I love the stuff they throw in there, but I just feel like Devil May Cry 3 got me just as emotional, just as hyped, just as excited without the pretty graphics, without the callbacks or anything like that. So yeah, that's my list for my favorite DMC games and the reasons behind them. If you have different opinions, then please share it down below. And give me your own reasons as well. And if you are one of the few who thoroughly and actually enjoy and like the sequel, why? Again, write it down below. But that's everything for now. I'm KingJGrim, or the guy who is going to work on my Vergil video now. Whatever you prefer, and I'll see you guys next time.
Yeah!